Hey everyone, this is Mike and welcome to Rating 101, a new series I'm going to be kicking off today, and this video is going to be serving as an introduction into what you can expect to be coming in the next few days. So when I talk about rating, what do I mean? So when I talk about rating content, I'm usually going to be referring towards the savage raids in the game, because of course Final Fantasy XIV does label a lot of different pieces of content as raiding content, like for example normal mode raids, 24-man raids, ultimate raids, savage raids, and then I guess we can throw in the extreme primals as well. Even though they're not labeled as raiding content, they are harder than normal mode and 24-man raids. Now, the main reason why I'm going to be talking about savage raids in particular is because most of the player base will at least attempt their savage raids at some point. Ultimate is something for the high-end raiders. It's usually, I think it's like 1% of the player base that even tries to do them. So that's why I'm not really going to be talking about those much. And the main reason why I'm going to be focusing on Savage is because it requires you to be a little bit better than to be able to clear stuff like Extreme Primals, Normal Mode Raids, 24-mans. Because a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about, like some stuff that you can do to not only improve yourself, like in your gameplay, but also some other stuff to bring to Raid to make you stronger, aren't really important at all in order to clear 24-mans or Normal Mode Raids, because those things don't have an enrage. What an enrage is basically the boss having a timer on them, and once you reach that timer, he says, game over, start again. And once that is introduced in a fight, you need to be better because you need to optimize your DPS, you need to do good DPS as well, like when it comes down to like knowing your rotation. Aligning raid buffs will become important in order to utilize them as well to do more damage. Mitigation becomes important so that your healers don't have to heal as much and can contribute more damage. That kind of stuff is important for savage raids, but of course when we talk about 24-mans, normal mode, extreme primals and stuff like that, you don't need all of that stuff in order to clear them, and when it comes to savage, you do need that kind of stuff to some extent in order to clear those fights. Now of course when it comes down to savage, there is a lot of a gear check when it comes down to when you can clear it, depending on the kind of player that you are. When a new Savage Raid tier comes out, only the really good players will be able to clear the whole tier in the first week, because of course you have very limited gear, meaning that damage is going to be very hard when it comes down to meeting that enrage. Of course, as the Savage tier grows older, people get more gear from like the first and the second fight, or from tombstone gear and that kind of stuff. Then the DPS check will become easier and easier, and it will become more accessible to more casual players as well. But I still wanted to make this series in order to talk about some concepts when it comes down to raiding that are very important, that not only will help you become a better player, but will also help you support your team to make it easier on your team to clear these raids or to get further into a raid tier and that kind of stuff. Some of the stuff that I'll be talking about will, for example, be how mitigation works, the different types of damage in this game, because I'm pretty sure not many people know that there is 4 different types of damage, the outgoing damage in this game. Most people only know about 2, which is magical and physical, but there's 2 more as well. So for example, how each mitigation that you can bring to the party will interact with these different pieces of damage differently. When it comes down to raid buffs, why it's important to align them, why using raid buffs selflessly is usually a lot more important than using them selfishly. Stuff like what consumables you can bring when it comes down to food, potions, free company buffs, grand company buffs that can all help you clear the fights faster, or at least give you a better chance at clearing the fight when it comes down to like how strong you are and that kind of stuff. I'll also be doing a little episode on ACT and FFLogs. I know a lot of people are very against parsers when it comes down to raiding, because they're like, well, I don't want to be ranked against other players, but ACT and FFLogs is actually a really great tool for self-improvement as well. And when it comes down to a Savage Raid, it is an environment where you want to be playing the best you can play, because of course the better you play, the higher the chance you have at clearing a fight. Because if you're gonna play very bad and you don't want to improve, then in my opinion you don't really have a place in a savage raiding environment, because of course you are fighting against an enrage, and when an enrage is like in a fight, you basically want to be playing the best that you can be playing. So that's kind of why I'm going to be talking about how to improve your game as well in some of these different episodes. Now, once I'm done with the whole series and there are still topics or some questions that people have always feel free to ask them in the comments. I'll be making a like a little playlist again on YouTube for this little series. So if you've gone through all of the videos and there are stuff that I might have missed, that I didn't elaborate on enough, or some stuff that you want to know more about, then feel free to ask that in the comments, and then I'll probably do a little Q&A as like a roundup episode at the end, so that everybody's questions can be answered there as well. So for example, if you ask something in the comments and I don't immediately respond to you, maybe I took that comment for something like that final episode where I do the Q&A. I elaborate on some more stuff that people want to know about, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of like what you can expect from this little mini series. It's going to be basically all about raiding, not necessarily just what is raiding, what should you do, how to use raid buffs and that kind of stuff, but also how can you get into raiding, should you go into party finder, should you go into a static environment, that kind of stuff is basically going to be everything that you might want to know to get into Savage raidings. And of course, when I give these tips, you can use them in other content as well. Like for example, if you do like raiding a lot and you want to get better, maybe you can try Ultimate or something like that. But for example, when you go into Party Finder for extreme primals or something like that, you'll still be able to utilize all of these tips that I am giving. So it's definitely not only specifically for Savage raids. It basically is going to be tips that are going to be making you a better player. And if you're a better player, you'll also, of course, be a better player in extreme primals, normal raids, 24-mans, etc, etc. So that's kind of all I wanted to talk about in today's video. That's some stuff that you can look forward to for the next few days. Hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank my Patreons for supporting me. And I'll see you in the next one.